Hello, I'm Dr. Terry James Gingras, and this is Dr. G's ADHD Chat. This is a show trying to make the world safe for ADHDers. I'm a clinical neuropsychologist, and I'm also a parent of a couple of ADHD kids. Now they're adults, but hey, and back in our day, there was no such thing as ADHD. It hadn't been named yet. It was called something else. Um, and So we were sort of, my wife and I were sort of going blind here. We had no help and no real reassurance. We had an ADHD child who was in the hyperactive spectrum, and well, it was quite a trip, and we learned a lot. I had to do mostly self-education, to reading a lot of books and going to a lot of seminars and that sort of thing, to pick up on some of the things you can do. I mean, with an ADHD child, it's never going to be nice and calm and smooth for extended periods of time, but you can make it go. Anyway, so today I want to talk a little bit about the neurotypical members of the family, particularly the other kids. ADHD is highly heritable, but it's not 100%. So you can have, like in my case, I had two kids, one of whom was hyperactive, and everybody knew what was going on with him. And then my daughter was inattentive, and we really didn't know that until, well, way later. She was in her 20s, I think, before it was like, oh, yeah, that could be her. And we had one neurotypical child. I'm not going to try to train a whole bunch of people in psychotherapy, but one of the things, like in family therapy, you need to know systems therapy theory. Systems are, well, a family is a system. You've got two parents, some number of kids underneath. You've got an older child and a younger child. The older child tends to be dependable, responsible, and reliable. That was me. And the younger ones get away with being babies, but they get by because they're cute. And you can tell, looking at them as adults, kind of what their birth position was. And if you happen to be the middle child in a family of three siblings, then you probably get to be the quiet one. You never want to be on stage. You always want to be in the background, running the board, or if you're in a band, you're the drummer, maybe the bass guitar guy. But that's just birth order stuff. That it sounds kind of, oh, come on, really? But honestly, the position you're in, it is, the training you get is pretty consistent. If you're the adult, or the oldest child, rather, sorry, you're the little adult, basically. You have two people who've never had a kid before who are scared to death of you. And so they tend to overcompensate and hover and make sure you do things right and all that other stuff. And by the time they have their third kid or even the second kid, they're kind of tired and also a little more experienced and calmer about things. So it's, there are differences just based on your birth order position. But the big thing is the system, okay? Families are systems. They live in a neighborhood, which is a bigger system. They live in a town, which is an even bigger, it goes on and on and on. But basically what, in the family, the response is more immediate. When things happen to a family, it affects everybody at about the same time, but in different ways. When a kid, say you're adventuresome ADHDer, breaks his collarbone, trying to do something on a skateboard that probably shouldn't be done, that affects everybody else in the family. I mean, they don't have to, go through the pain and all that stuff, but they have to, "Oh, okay, now he can't do his chores. Now he needs help putting on his shirt. Now and that means there's less attention around for other people. Um, One of my favorite cartoons, you've got two older people who are probably the grandparents, and a mom and a dad, and they're all around a bassinet looking in, cooing and all that stuff. And then you've got about a looks like he's 6 or 7 years old, something like that, kid coming in, and he's all proud, and he's got a report card with an A+ on it. He's trying to, and nobody's paying attention. Everybody's looking in the basket. Oh, look. The cut line is, oh, look, he blew a bubble. And the kid who did well in school can't get any attention at all. You can, I feel for that child, but that's what happens. That's what happens. Having a new baby brother takes the attention away from you. Some of that's good, some of it's not so good. Sometimes you feel ignored. And that's basically what happens with an ADHD child. When they come into the family, they command a tremendous amount of attention, because they're more impulsive. They've got more energy. They don't sit still. They climb when they shouldn't probably be climbing. I still remember when I walked into the kitchen one day, and there was my youngest sitting on top of the kitchen counter, and he was I think he was actually still in diapers. He was able to walk, but he was still in diapers. And he got up on top of the counter. But that's where the cookies were, but that's why he did it. But he's up on top of the counter, and I couldn't figure out how. I mean, he's like 2 feet tall, and the counter is 4 feet off the ground. How did he do? Well, basically, he saw the drawers, and he pulled each drawer out a little bit and made a staircase out of it, and he climbed up that, which, while that was, I thought, very creative and all the rest of it, but it was also like, "Oh, man, I need to pay more attention now." I he could have gotten really clobbered or something, but that's one of the things. So his older brother never did any of that stuff and was usually out with his friends or playing ball somewhere, kind of thing. But the amount of attention he got was much less once his little brother was born. And sister was the oldest, and she got even less. So it's systems theory explains a lot of things, and but what it points out to the parents is that they've got to do some things. They got to be aware of this. That you have an ADHD child, you are paying more attention to him or her, and you are therefore paying less attention to the other siblings. And if you don't do that and compensate for that, if you're not aware of that and you don't compensate for it, you're going to have a resentful kid. You're going to have a child who's thinks that it's just not fair. Why does he get all the attention? Why does he screws up all the time and he gets all the attention? And but basically, so what's the kid do? Well, first move will be to try to be perfect. Try to do everything he can do to please all the parents, and finding, maybe try to, with performance, try to get more attention. Honestly, yeah, most parents aren't going to give a whole lot of more of attention just because you're a perfectionist or just because you're a people pleaser. So then if that doesn't work, then acting out and doing something dangerous or risky or that sort of thing can sometimes happen. So basically, you've got to spend some time with some on purpose time with just you and older, or I'm using it my family too much a little bit, but the children that are neurotypical, you have to spend a bit of time with them. You have to be intentional about it. It's just you and me. We're gonna go whatever. It's helpful if they like to do something that the other kids in the family don't like. If they like fishing, fine, we'll go fishing. And the other kids are bored and they don't want to do that, so that's great. So it's just one-on-one time. You've got some time with just them. And it doesn't have to be any major league thing that you do, but it's important that they're the focus of attention, and it's not to play computer games or any of that stuff but it's that you're going for a bike ride, playing paddleball, playing tennis, something like that. Where it's just the two of you and you're paying attention to them, and it's attentional and intentional. So you're going to spend the time, and the time this is to make up for some of the time you can't normally fix. And if you've got a daughter, then mom and daughter get to have the intentional time. So the funny thing is that a lot of it isn't always this way, but sometimes parents will kind of overcompensate. They'll be really hard on the neurotypical kid because they know he knows what he's doing, and he's there's no particular reason why he should be given a pass for any misbehaviors or failures or lack of accomplishment and all that sort of thing. Whereas a lot of times they'll compensate, for the ADHD kid, and just, oh, I know, just try harder next time, and of course the other kid sees this, and he's not happy or she's not happy. And it's one of the things parents have got to watch out for, um, because you've got a very good chance of having both of your children, say you've only got two, really irritated and angry with you because you're harder on the neurotypical kid, and you're baby in the ADHD kid, and sometimes both of them resent that. Okay, and this is one. I was going over this with my wife, and she says, "Oh my God, that's you." Okay, here we go. ADHD siblings, that is, the siblings of kids with ADHD, the neurotypicals, often become highly skilled at reading emotional rooms, tend to be a little hyper vigilant, a little bit conflict avoidant, and perhaps quietly angry. Uh, and these patterns. Okay, that was me. Okay, I was the one who was always get good grades, and I was the one who didn't get into trouble, and da 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 da. And my brother, a little different. He didn't get great grades. The only thing he had is, but my dad was a golf pro. I think I've told everybody about that by now. But my brother was a really great athlete because he didn't he didn't take anything too seriously. I would be on the golf course or in the batting cage or whatever, and somebody'd tell me, the coach would tell me, do this different thing in that part, and I'd be thinking about it, and bad stuff would be happening. Then I asked my brother one day, why is it that this stuff doesn't seem to bother you? He says, I never pay attention to that stuff. I just do what I want to do. which I know virtually every youth coach I had the same opinion. You're too smart to be an athlete. You think too much. But it was probably right. It was probably right. So that's one of the things that I still do. I see it coming way before, say my wife does, or it's. Uh, but like I said earlier, one of the biggest things, the best things you can do to compensate is that you spend quality time, intentional time, where you're actually paying attention to them, and your intention is that they have a good time with the neurotypical kid. You've got to give him or her the time that you have to parcel off. You've got to make up for the time that you have to parcel off and take care of the ADHD, um, because I mean, he's having a temper tantrum or da 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 da. It's one of those things that you you're never going to completely compensate, but you can do a better job that this is just our time. We're together, our time, you and I. So you need to develop a relationship with both children, and you need to try to spend a lot of time with both of them. And you're not always going to have that. I mean, I think one of the things that ADHD co uh, co children, the neurotypical ones, I think they resent that there's no time when the dining room table is not chaos time, uh, when the whole environment of the home is crisis, crisis, crisis. And I think a lot of neurotypical kids are just wanting some peace and quiet, and that their parents not be so tired and frustrated all the time, and that well, of course there's time for them, but that frequently is one of the things that happens. You have especially if you're the oldest. You come in, you've been alone for some amount of years, at least a couple, but maybe longer. And then all of a sudden your world goes bluey because you got this screaming kid that can't sit still and won't stop and throws temper tantrums and kinds of stuff. And your parents are, "Oh, I don't know what to do," and all that stuff. And there you are, still still trying to get along with that with the whole family, and not sure what to do, but and why is your life different now, and all that stuff. So okay, I'm going to throw in a pitch for my profession. Family therapy is not a sign of weakness or that you don't know what you're doing as a parent or anything like that. uh, it's set up so that you have somebody who doesn't have a direct role in all this, who can observe it and make suggestions and listen to you and give everybody their little time to express what they're feeling about things, which it's harder to do. I mean, I'm a psychologist, and don't I try never to do therapy in my home, because it just doesn't work very well. I'm not Dr. G at home. I'm dad, uh, or and I can't get the distance that I need if I want to really work with um, somebody therapeutically. I have to be able to be objective, and uh, whereas my kid, it's different. It's like, oh, so, and that works the same way with everybody out there who's got an ADHD child. Is you can't you're the parents, you're part of the system. You need to have somebody who's outside the system, so that they can have a different perspective. They can see, oh, did you know that you do this all the time? Or did you, nope. People, you're part of the situation. You're not an observer, and you have a hard time being objective, and that's just the way it is. And it's nothing wrong. It's just there's only so much you can be aware of yours, uh, and that's important for you, um, to give yourself a pass on and say, hey, okay, let's go talk to somebody. Um, let's get things straightened, and maybe he or she can see some things that we could do to improve everybody's lives, and let's just go. Um, you don't want to ever be in the we're going to a dang therapist and it's your fault. That I can't even believe how stupid that is, but that's some people do it. Oh, dang, talk about my feelings. Yes, that is not the way you wanted to handle things. That's not the way you're going to be able to handle things. That's one of the things about an ADHD child is he or she will cause you to have to look at some things that a lot of people don't have to. I mean, raising neurotypical kids is, it's a bit of a struggle, but it's not nearly like it is if you've got one or two ADHD children. That's real different. Okay, and this is I am Dr. Terry James Gingrass still, and this is still Dr. G's ADHD chat, and we're still talking about how to get along better with ADHD kids and worry less and all those other things. If you feel like you need the coaching, or I do a lot of coaching with executives, I do, and some ADHD families, and you can get in touch with me on through my website, terrygingrassphd.com. And I've got Calendly, which you probably know, and you just set up an appointment there, and it'll notify me and keep you on track and all that stuff. And we just do, what do they call that? Oh, a discovery call. If you're in private practice, you don't do discovery calls. You just you just do therapies, and the first time you see somebody, it's an intake. And okay, but discovery calls, it's about 20 minutes or so, and just find out if we're going to be able to work together, if it's a good match, and that sort of thing. And it's a total freebie. So if you feel like that might help you all out, go ahead. You can also sign up for my newsletter and my mailing list. Time to time, we do extra things, small courses or sometimes bigger courses. I've got one coming up for executives pretty soon. But anyway, and there's information on those as well. Okay, catch you next time. Remember, we're trying to make the world safe for ADHDers.